First of all, I want to start saying that the thumbnail is probably going to be a bit clickbaity because I'm showing the uber expensive version, which is real, but it's expensive. Said that, hello guys, today I want to show you my Fortify Smite champion. The build is insanely tanky, even on a moderate budget, which is the live version that I have right now. The Euro expensive version has permanent 45 charges, has permanent 500 charges, 95 capped evasion, 100% spell suppression, 97 block attack, 96 spell block, 82k armor. The build is really tanky. And a really good DPS too, it's over 90 million damage with the more expensive version. Champion received a couple good changes in the last patch notes, and since Champion is one of my favorite ascendancies in the game, I want to do something with it. Since already changes, I have been POBing this build over and over again, and I finally have a medium budget version online in game that I want to show you today. Before the league launch, I wasn't sure about the skill I was going to use, and I took a look at the attack skill list, and based on the attack speed and the effectiveness, I was between Smite and Ice Clash of Cadence. Then after the league launch, the choice was pretty much obvious because the player base discovered the Merc and Doriani combo, and Ice Clash of Currents does cold damage, meanwhile Smite it does lightning damage, so we are staying with Smite. Okay, now we're going to see the pros and cons of the build. For example, one of the pros is that, again, it's insanely tanky, with the endgame version with infinite EHP, shown by the POB numbers. It has 33k Beast Max hit, 40 for the Elemental, and 36 for Chaos. Its main downside is the dots, but we also have a good regen, so the build is tanky. Then another pro is that it has instant damage. Its hit damage means that it's not any kind of dot. For example, for a poison build that needs a ramp up, it goes over 90 million damage in the expensive version. Then another pro is that it's lightning damage in a lightning damage league, so it fits pretty well the context. It has a very good clearing because Smite has this area damage. It has a good single target DPS because it works like lightning damage that has an area damage that can hit the enemy, and also has the melee hits. It has a very good single target DPS because it works similarly to lightning strike that can hit with the area damage or with the melee hit. So it kind of double dips there also for the damage if you position correctly. And finally, that you can start the build for cheap and you can scale it with hundreds of divines. I personally started with 20 each divines, and that's the start point that I would say that the build starts working and showing its good proportions. Then for the negative points, we have that the endgame versions requires uniques that are very expensive this league. For example, this Valley, the Celestial Gloves that are over 40 divines, this Valley is almost 100 divines. The Block, Gladiator, Flesh and Flames are over 200 divines. And these items are unique and mandatory for the build to shine properly, at least for an endgame version. Then that the build requires some currency to get to a comfortable point. Again, that's like 20 divines or 30 divines depending on when you start building this. It could be now, it could be cheaper when I started. Then another point is that it can't do all the mods. For example, if you want to focus on a risk scarab strategy, it cannot do everything. For example, it cannot do Feast Reflect because Smite gets some Feast still before the conversion, so that would kill you. Then you have that reduced block chance mod. It's actually pretty bad because that's your main layer of defenses. Then we have the no leech that is very annoying for the build, but we still can do it because we get the mana hit, but it's not the same gameplay. I usually skip it. Okay, so we're going to start seeing the uber expensive version. This is this one. For the record, I already have imported the Mercenary, which is I will show you later on, but it's basically the merc that uses the Durani chest and has minus 200 elemental rest. My current one in game, which is the one that is applied to my live version that we will see the showcase later on. It has the minus, I think it is minus 150, but for the uber version, it already has the minus 200. Okay, so let's see the build. As you can see in my effective life pool, I was not kidding. This in POB has infinite EHP. That's what you get when you combine mitigation damage layers, defense layers with avoidance damage defense layers. They start multiplying each other and they scale exponentially. So in this case, we'll start with the block. As you can see, we have 97 chance to block attacks and 96% chance to block spells. That's huge. Imagine that if you get 100 hits or 100 attacks, 97 of them you will receive 0 damage. That's amazing. And the same for spells, but it's 96. Then we have basically capped spell suppression with 98 with the lucky roll. We have 82 amount of armor, 85 for evasion. Remember that we're using the perseverance, so we're getting also damage from all these high numbers. Of course, we are capped with our resistances, and we have over 1000 leech. That's pretty good for the sustain. That's our main way to counter all these dots that we can find in maps. And as you can see, the max hit is pretty good too. It has 33k for the max hit, 40 for the elemental, and 36 for the max chaos damage. Also, we are not mentioning here, it doesn't appear here, but we of course have the Fortify, which is, I have it at 44 stacks, and that means that the hits that we receive also gets reduced by 44 less damage. It doesn't matter if it's block or attack by the Fortify aura, let's say, or it's the Fortify charges that we have permanently with the champion. Then about the damage, as you can see, this is 50 million damage with the melee hit, but remember that we can hit twice with the area and the melee hit, and that's 43 million damage, which combined is over 90 million damage. The lethal bright is fairly common. It only has +1 maximum fortification in 3 nodes. This is actually the one that I'm using in my live character, and I got it a couple weeks ago for a couple divines, so it's not very expensive. You can try to fish for one that gets the nodes here maybe, or some of the nodes here for more fortification. I think that we are at a point that the getting more fortification charges has a huge initial returns, and it's best to invest or elsewhere. If I take out some of the defenses, you can see that we're start seeing some of the numbers. For example, okay, 15 million effective life pool before we actually get more spell block. Just to give you an idea that this is actually not bugged or something like that, is that we have an insane amount of mitigations. Think that whenever you receive an attack, you have to go through your evade chance, that is 95%. So from 100 attacks, we only get 5, and then from those 5, 97% of those attacks will get blocked. You receive 0 damage, and when the attack gets passed, then you have to go through your mitigation defenses. For example, if it's elemental, it will go through your elemental resistances. If it's a physical hit, it will get through the armor, and then you have to go through your fortification. So it's an insanely. This is why the character feels insanely tanky. Then what else? I want to talk now about the most expensive parts that makes this a new expensive version. And first of all is the Forbidden Flames, that they are over 200 divines currently in the market, and the supply is very low. I think it's at around 15 joules for each in the market now. Then we have the Celestial Braces with a max roll. It's close to or around 40 divines. That's quite expensive. Then the Progenesis Flask, which adds a lot of the EHP. I can even I can even add here. As you can see, it's not infinite anymore, and that's mainly because we don't have the Cult Rest. But yeah, the Progenesis Flask is it's less than 100 divines, but I think it's close to 70 or 50 last time I saw it. And then the rest, we have the rare items, which has special conditions. For example, you need to have the resistances. As you can see, we are barely capped, so you need to have high rolls for resistance, life, and the attributes. As you can see, we have a very high roll for intelligence, and we have tool attributes here. The armor, I will show you that the armor is actually pretty insane. It has all max roll, even though, for example, in the chaos we have over 13 here, so you can have less here. And if you reduce the spell suppression, you will get no less suppression because you are capping with lucky roll. So it's not needed to have all perfect, of course, but for the showcase, and this is a newer expensive version, it's all maxed out. But if you have 200 less in each one of the armor, it won't change the essence of the build. But this should be pretty damn expensive, especially because of the defenses here, the suppression and the chaos resistance, and then the additional physical damage reduction. If you remove it, for example, we will lose around 4k physical max hit, so that would be 29. Even if you start doing the same with all the parts of the build, it will work, but it won't show the same numbers. Okay, so this is a maxed out version. And finally, let's see the configuration page to see that where these things comes from. We have the endurance charge thanks to the Ralakash boots. So we don't even need to tick that, but it's already applied. Then we have, of course, the frenzy charges and power charge. This comes from the mark, and the frenzy comes from the blood rage, and we have this mastery. So that's all legit. The fortification stacks, this is the amount that you have combining all together, and it's always active thanks to the new changes for the champion. The rage, this is max rage, and we have it because we have these set of clusters. It takes a bit to ramp up, but you get a lot of it thanks to the high attack speed that we have. We hit 7.6 times per second, so that's insane. Heavy block recently, of course, with continuous blocking, we block everything. Is champion intimidate active? Yes, we permanently intimidate enemies thanks to the ascendancy. What else? Is the enemy bleeding? Yes, because we have these nodes here, which gives us chance to bleed. And since we are attacking so fast, the enemies are always bleeding. Then is the enemy main? Yes, that's main, because as you can see, we have chance to main here, and you have the cluster to main here. That's 30%, and again, we hit 7 times per second, and that's already applied for the extra damage. Is the enemy shocked? Yes, of course, because we are dealing 99.9% lightning damage, so we are actually shocking, and we have 100% critical chance, so the shocks are being applied. And the effect here is actually a bit conservative because each one of our hits does almost 7 million damage. That's most likely to break the enemy threshold from any enemy. But yeah, I set it as 35. You can set it as 50. You get a little bit more damage. This doesn't matter because we are not using Trinity anymore in this POB. And yeah, this is set as Pinnacle Boss, and that's the whole calculation page. There's no custom mode. What it does have is the Mercenary, which I will show later on, but it has 200 minus lightning resistance, and it has this the lucky damage amulet. And finally, we can talk about the mana cost. As you can see, it's 1 mana cost. We have a lot of reductions thanks to the inspiration and thanks to the rings, which have the flat reduction of the cost. Still, we have a lot of mana here free. This is with an enlightened 3. You can have a 4. This is a expensive version, right? But that's not needed, not actually needed. There are more important stuff to invest if we want to get to this point. And yeah, as you can see, the mana is plenty. You won't have any issue at all. The Assassin Mark actually costs 34 mana, but since we have a life tap, that doesn't matter. The Willing Blades cost 10 mana. So yeah, the mana is literally no wish in this build. And that's basically it for the uber expensive version. I think I take this as an inspirational to progress my current build and to know that where I can go if I put currency into my build, and that it is not meaningless. As we will see now in a moment, my current version has less than 20 million damage, it has a lot less effective life pool. It does feel incredible, but it's not infinite incredible. So I like this kind of build that you can put more and more and more and more currency, and the build keeps scaling. It's not a build that it will have, for example, I don't know, 15 million damage, and the next step is like 2 mirrors to get over that. So that's not one of those builds. And also to mention that this is not mirror level of currency. This is hundreds of divine, which is a lot of currency. but it's not giga expensive as other meta builds that may cost. Of course, meta builds are usually better in all sense because there's a reason that they are meta. But this is pretty fun, and this is insanely tanky. And we'll see more live action when I show you my current character. Okay, this is a quick section for the merc. I am using this is far from max out. This is actually my character that I have currently now in game. I have 2 rings with -60 and the Immortal Flesh with -25, which is a total of -120. I am using the amulet for the lucky rolls on our hits. This is perfect for lightning damage, and of course the Duriani that makes the enemies around the merc to have the same elemental resistances as him, so they have -120 resistances. That's how the tech works. And I'm using this stuff that it gives some extra increased damage. There's possibly a better option for the merc. That's the wands, but this one cannot use wands. But you can get a merc that can use wands and get the wrath or effect. That would be pretty good. That's probably a better option than just 20 increased damage. But that's what I have been using up to now. And the merc has to have the wrath aura. The wrath aura. This is actually like a level 25. I set it as 23 because I'm not entirely sure, just to be conservative. But yeah, that's all you need for the merc. I will show you then in game how it looks like. And in the Uber expansion version, you just switch the rings to have at least to reach the -200. So that's the cap for reducing the elemental resistances. Okay, now we're going to see the POB from my current version in game. Starting with the defenses, as you can see, it's already starting to pop off. It looks pretty good already, with a decent max hit and a very good effective life pool. Then about the damage, this is 11 million for the melee hit, and for the area, that's another 9, so that's close to 20. If we remove the tincture, that's 7 plus 6, that's close to 15 million DPS. As you can see, all the numbers looks pretty similar to the uber expensive version, but they are half basically of the other. But as you can see, the block chance, we have the spell block, we have capped spell suppression, all the resistances, a lot of armor, a lot of evasion, and of course we're not using this Valiant. That will be much higher block chance. I don't have yet the Forbidden Jewel from the Gladiator. In the configuration page, I don't have the rage here, but we have 30 base plus 6. That should be 36 when you have max rage. Then the adrenaline that we can proc from the ascendancy with the corruption fever. That's a bit more damage. This doesn't matter because we already 45 from the ascendancy. And yeah, that's pretty much it. The effect of shock, I think that should be a little bit higher. We are exposing the enemy, but that doesn't matter because we already using the merc. So that's like 30 million DPS current version. If we have the tincture, that's 20 plus 15. That's a lot of damage, but it's all conditional, right? And then all the rest is basically the same. I will leave both POBs in the description. But my character is almost 97. Yeah, it's currently 96. About the skill gems, I could say that we are using the Assassin Mark for more critical, Frostblink because we are using Whirling Blaze. We cannot go over elevations. Then we have the Corruption Fever that I already mentioned. That's to activate the adrenaline for 20 seconds. Then we have our main link, but the Uber expensive version has some different gems. It changes the increased critical damage for the added lightning damage. That's because it's using the Awakening one, which gives +1 level for Smite. 1 level on Smite also does a lot because we get the aura from Smite itself, and that aura scales with levels. So as you can see, it adds a lot of damage. I should get this, but I'm using all these gems. I self-leveled them, so this is the current setup that we're going to see now in game. For the auras, I'm using Grace, Haste, and Determination. And of course, we have Wrath from our Merc. So that's kind of pretty good combination. I used to have Anger and I tried using the Trinity, but Trinity wasn't working consistently. So I decided to ditch that idea and go full lightning damage. As you can see, we have some aura damage because we have some added damage in our gear, but that's mostly lightning damage. And remember that we also have the lucky procs from Merc using the amulet. And yeah, that's basically for the gems, for the tree, and for the gear. This is just gear. I will leave a capture in the screen, but this is all close to 30 divines. At least when the time that I got it, some stuff could probably go up and some others go down. Okay, for the showcase, we're going to do a tier 17 map, and we're also adding with a lot of map effect modifiers.